Hey guys, Dr. Bodle here, and if you have Hashimoto's, you're probably wondering, am I exercising too much or am I exercising too little? You've likely heard both kinds of recommendations, and that can be confusing. In reality, it all comes down to the severity of your condition and your previous experience with exercise. But no matter where you're at, in today's video, we're going to go over the best ways for you to start exercising. That way you can maximize your outcomes and minimize your thyroid symptoms. And of course, if you're enjoying the information and like learning about natural strategies to support your Hashimoto's and hypothyroid symptoms, like, subscribe, and click on the bell for videos every Thursday. Now, in general with exercise, I run into two different kinds of people in my practice. The kinds of people who aren't doing any exercise, and therefore whenever they make an attempt, they feel miserable doing the exercise and they feel miserable afterwards. And then there are the kind of people who are doing way too much exercise and they're actually burning themselves out. Now, we absolutely have to move, and leaving exercise out of our healthcare strategy puts us at a huge disadvantage because exercise provides some very unique benefits to the body. In particular, when it comes to Hashimoto's, exercise can help us to better regulate our immune system and decrease inflammation, all while improving our strength and mobility. So no movement at all, especially if we have a very sedentary job, that's a deal breaker. On the other hand, exercise does apply a stress to the body. Now, in general, that stress is a good thing because stress is what stimulates our body to change. However, if we're already in a hyperinflamed state, then that might not be something that our body tolerates very well. I did a video recently, and I will link that for you in the cards above, that many times, especially when it comes to gaining weight, people are told by their doctors that they are not putting in enough effort. And therefore, they're spending many hours at fitness classes, in the gym, doing whatever they can to try to burn more calories and help that process along. But the vast majority of the time, the issue here isn't lack of effort, it's the fact that their Hashimoto's isn't being well managed and their over-exercising is actually impeding their progress. So make sure to check that out if you feel that it's possible that your exercise is holding you back. But the key here is tolerance, and this is something that I've stressed before. Your body has to tolerate the exercise, which means we have to stimulate or stress the system enough where it can then respond and build strength, but we can't do too much where it starts to tear us down. And the way you know you're tolerating an exercise or not is actually pretty simple. All you need to do is ask yourself, am I having a flare-up of symptoms in areas unrelated to the exercise? Meaning, it's okay if you start doing push-ups and you're sore in your chest and arms. But it's not okay if you start doing push-ups and you're sore everywhere. You develop headaches, you're feeling more fatigued and achy, your sleep isn't as consistent, or you're noticing skin breakouts. All of these could be indicators of system overload, and again, they don't have any direct relation to the exercise that's being performed. So for people who are moving hardly at all, usually any amount of exercise is enough to exceed their tolerance. And we have to help you to be able to build a new foundation that actually allows you to exercise in a more consistent manner. And for those of you doing too much, we're likely going to have to back it down and help you to improve your movement patterns. That way the focus can be on holistic health rather than just the burning of calories. So where do we start? No matter the situation, we want to have a background of low-grade, low-intensity general movement. This means doing some sort of movement or physical activity every day, but not at an intensity where it starts to cost us our health. My favorite thing to recommend for my patients is walking. It's simple, it's easy to do, and there's a ton of research supporting how beneficial it is to us. But how much walking should we be doing? Well, if your body is very sensitive to movement at this time, then I would recommend 5 minutes and at the very most 10 minutes to start. Now, that might not sound like very much, but you'll be surprised at how effective it can be if it's done on a consistent basis. Plus, at this point, we're just trying to help you to rebuild that foundation. And I'd rather have you do something that almost seems too easy as opposed to overdoing it and feeling discouraged and symptomatic. If you're feeling a little bit more confident, then 20 to 30 minutes can be great, but you really don't need to be doing more than that. Of course, you absolutely can if you want to and if it feels good, but it isn't necessary for us to make progress, and I know that for many people, our time is limited. Now, there will be some of you out there who are saying, even walking for a super short period of time is too much for me to handle. And I get that even when low intensity exercise is too much for us, it can make things seem really daunting, but that doesn't let you off the hook. In these cases, I will recommend for people to either do a stretching routine or get into a pool and do light water aerobics. Both of these options do a good job of further reducing the intensity and stress on the body while allowing for movement to occur. And sometimes we need to really focus on that mobility piece before we can be more intentional about our walking. As we start to build our mobility and our endurance, we want to progress towards that 20 to 30 minutes of walking per day. And as that starts to become more comfortable for us, we can increase the challenge by walking in areas that have more of an incline or by increasing the speed of our walking. And while this is a key part of our plan, and it can take several months to achieve this level of fitness, we also need to be aware that it's going to be missing out on a number of different muscle groups, and it isn't going to significantly increase our overall strength. Therefore, if we want to leverage our exercise to the maximum degree and really start supporting our thyroid health, then this is where we want to start adding in strength training. Now, I know that strength training can be intimidating and overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. It's something that can be done simply, effectively, and if you want, you can do it at home. And the way that I break it down for my patients is I simplify it into 6 main movements. You've heard me mention these before, but just as a reminder, they include a push, a pull, a overhead press, an overhead pull, squats, and hip hinges. These movements cover the majority of the large muscle groups in the body and also the majority of our functional movement. And by categorizing exercises into these different groups, we can avoid the mistake that I see a lot of people making, which is doing multiple exercises that all target the same muscles, which allows us to avoid overstressing one part of the body, which then allows us to build strength everywhere while maximizing our recovery, managing our inflammation, and supporting better immune function. For example, push exercises are going to look like we are pushing open a door. And we can adjust the specific exercise depending on our tolerance, our fitness level, and any sort of previous injuries. For some people, this could be doing a standing push-up against a wall. And for others, it might be doing a bench press with a light weight. But to some degree, it's important for us to realize that although a standing push-up and a bench press might look different, they're still exercising the same part of the body. And if we want to balance building strength and also supporting our recovery, then it wouldn't make sense for a particular workout session to include multiple exercises that all target the same area. But just like with my walking recommendations, in the beginning, I want you to start light and gentle. And again, it's better for things to feel too easy than to feel too hard. We can always increase the intensity later. I can't tell you the amount of patients I've had over the years that get into some sort of office fitness challenge, get smoked on the first day, and then that's it for the month. Those types of approaches really don't help anyone. But once we have those exercise movements in mind, we're going to pick one exercise for each category, and we're going to stick with that exercise over the next few months. Don't worry about switching things up. Don't worry about creating muscle confusion. Fit and consistency are the most important pieces here, and the rest of that stuff is usually just confusing fluff. Then, once we have those exercises, this is how I usually structure things for my patients. I will have them do 2 of their exercises on Monday, 2 of their exercises on Wednesday, and 2 of their exercises on Friday. And typically in the beginning, I'll have them do 5 to 15 reps, depending on what the exercise is, and have them only do 2 sets each. This again keeps things very efficient in regards to the amount of time that is required, and by spacing the different exercises out, we allow for maximum recovery time in each one of our functional areas. So on Mondays, I'll have patients do an overhead press, which could be seated or standing with a very light weight, and I'll have them do body weight squats. Wednesdays will be focused on push exercises and our pull exercises. So this could be, again, a push-up, either standing or normal push-ups. And the pull could be something like a seated resistance band pull or a standing row. Finally, Friday will focus on our overhead pull and our hip hinge. And this could be something like an overhead lat pull down or an assisted pull up. Both fit into that overhead pull category. And the hip hinge can be something like a Romanian deadlift. And again, in the beginning, using very light weight. On the exercises you're better with, do 15 reps. And the ones that you need to practice or more of a challenge, do 5. But whether you're doing 5 or 15, do 2 sets and stick with that for the first 2 to 3 weeks. During these initial phases, I would not only recommend tracking your reps and sets, but also tracking how you feel and if you're noticing any symptoms after your workout or potentially the next day. This can allow you to add reps and sets as you progress forward, and also reduce the amount of reps and sets you're doing if you're noticing any adverse effects. If you're doing well and noticing an improvement in your fitness after the first 2 to 3 weeks, then feel free to add in that third set, but make sure to drop your overall reps. Meaning, if you were doing 2 sets of 15 push-ups on your push days, then you may want to reduce it down to 3 sets of 10 push-ups, so you're still doing the same amount, while also giving your body time to adjust to that additional set. The other thing that you can consider as you're moving forward with your plan is if the 2 exercises 3 times per week isn't working for you, then we can use different types of approaches here. I will sometimes have patients group 3 exercises 2 times per week, or I might have them do just 1 exercise every single day with a rest day on Sunday. This is a really good strategy for people who feel like they're uber busy and don't have time for anything. Some exercise is better than no exercise. And even doing 1 set of 1 exercise and changing the type of movement, just like I taught you, as you go through the week, can still be an effective way to improve your health and fitness. But by using your framework of your 6 movements, picking 1 exercise for each one of those movements, and starting off with 5 to 15 reps and only 2 sets, then you can make things simple and approachable, and most of all, effective. From there, we can get more nuanced if needed, again, adjusting things based on previous injuries, or changing things if we want to up the intensity, but we don't need to overthink it. Find the exercises that work for you, do them consistently, make sure to track your progress, and don't exceed your system's tolerance. But let me know in the comments if you found this information useful, and feel free to share what aspects of exercise have been the biggest challenge for you with your thyroid symptoms. If you liked the video but want more help and are interested in working with me one-on-one, you can get that process started by sending an email to contact@seattlethyroidhelp.com, and my staff will see if you qualify for a free consultation. During the consultation, we'll discuss your health history, your health goals, and see if this is something that I can help you with. I always want to make sure that our partnership is a good fit, and if things feel good to you, then we can move forward from there. If you're looking for other ways to supplement your learning, I have a lot of content available on this channel for you to check out, or you can grab either one of my free downloads, which are listed in the description box below. But that's it for this week's video. Thanks for hanging with me. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and if you don't already, follow me on Instagram or Facebook for daily information and strategies. But my name is Dr. Brad Bodle. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next one.